Are you wasting your time and money on inefficiencies in the business? Are sales down and lead conversion rates are low? Are you having problems building or maintaining inventory levels? What does it really take to win in the automotive industry?
Get the cars that make sense for your store rather than just wishing at an auction. So it gives you that better control.
With over 25 years of experience, Daryl the Wolf Steed isn't just another industry voice. He's the guy who's out there solving real problems for dealers just like you.
They'll even say in the Pacific Northwest where you're at that it's a tougher market. It's, it's tougher to find cars. The market's a little bit softer. And in the midst of all this, your turn doubled and your profit's up 75%.
Yes.
The truth hurts only when it should. Are you ready to hear the truths? Daryl is here to unpack the hard truths and the proven strategies that will take your dealership from struggling to soaring. And he is taking it all in the streets, with real talk, open dialogue, unfiltered conversations. This is the podcast series, Street Smarts, powered by Smart Wolf Consulting.
Good afternoon, everybody. Daryl Steed here with Street Smarts and Smart Wolf Consulting. So we are going live today on a couple different forums to really talk about something that has been kind of coming up quite a bit in conversations. And as some of these podcasts come out, you will see that to be a pretty frequent topic going into 2025. But I thought, you know what, let's get on this and talk about it. I've got a couple different screens up. So if you want to comment, engage, Facebook, LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, we've got it there as well. But we're talking about all these tools that are coming out, like all these different things that are coming out and that are available. And what I thought was really interesting about all these tools is that when we're talking about tools, we look at the sizzle and the UX or the user interface. And we're like, oh, wow, that's really great. Or it's going to get me more leads, or it's going to they see this immediate impact and activity. But then we asked ourselves the $1 million question. And that's what we want to really talk about right now is why is it if we put a tool in, let's just say we put it in New York City, and we put it in 20 miles away at one store, and then the other store is the other 20 miles away. Why does one store have massive success with it, and then the other store can't seem to figure out how to work it, how to get success? And interestingly enough, in quite a few conversations that have come up this week, is I'm just fluxed by some of these conversations, some of these comments of like, well, the tool didn't work for us, or it doesn't work for us. Well, I mean, let's get 100% serious, guys. You don't work for you, right? You don't have a process. You probably don't have the right people, but assume you had the right people. So the people are good in both places. You've got the same tool. Why doesn't it work? Well, it comes down every single time to the store that's willing to be consistent and dedicated to a process and make sure that they train their people so that they're ready for the battle. They're ready for war, so to say. If I give you, and I was in the military, so if I give you a gun and I give you bullets, right, and I never show you how to use it, you are a very dangerous individual, okay, with no idea what to do. Isn't that kind of what we're seeing in the industry is? So we don't have the same skill set that we had before the pandemic came about, because everyone was in it all the time. There was a grind. We were moving, shaking, and getting all these things going in sales. Then COVID came, and we've diminished our automotive sales experience and attempted to now go into this buying arena. And we have no skills adapted and developed because we got lazy. It's that old phrase, if you don't use it, you lose it. Well, that is 100% true, because now you have rusty tools in your bag. You haven't used them. They're out of practice. So when we're talking about it's not the tools, it's the training is the key, is what do we do with training every day? And I'm not talking about, we do a sales training, we talk about objection handling or role playing on a sales call, right? Which is all well and good, but I'm going to challenge you one further and saying, who trained your managers to train your people? Or is it just something you used over and over and over again, or this is what we've always done? So now you're training the same stuff that we know is no longer effective. Who's refreshed your training? Who's given you different insights? Who's given you more effective insights? Forget about different, more effective. What have you done to adapt your handling of consumers to ensure that you are now prepared for the conversation, that you're prepared for what's coming next? So you have to ask yourself, are you ready? Are you not ready? When are you going to get ready? And so training is really the key. And that's where Street Smarts comes in and Smart Wolf Consulting. If you haven't got a chance to look at it, you guys, www.autostreetsmarts.com or www.smartwolfconsulting.com. With Smart Wolf Consulting, I'm going to come in there. We're going to get in the trenches together. So you've probably heard me say it a couple of times. If you're ready to win, if you're ready to make a difference, I'm in it. Let's do it. Okay. Doesn't matter how many hours it's going to take. Doesn't matter what it's going to take. Like, if you say you're ready and you're convicted to making it work, so am I. Those are the people I'm looking to work with Smart Wolf and building something special. If you're looking for, you've got a good process, you need some help and some training and some developmental skills, you have the Street Smarts Academy, and then you have the Genius Group. If you want the deeper dive, the examples, the handouts, things to build your process better than where you're already at, the next level. And we talk about this, and I bring this up quite a bit because we talk about tools. And if I gave you guys 400 leads, or if I gave you guys 3 different lead providers, and then you're like, well, we're closing in 85% of these lead providers when it comes to acquisition, say the national average or what they're seeing convert is 3 to 5%. Okay. Let's assume I gave you 400 leads and you close at 3%. National average of a lead provider, well-known lead provider out there. That's 12 cars that you bought. So now you have to ask yourself, how much are you paying for that tool? $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 plus your personnel. Why are we settling for 3%? Why are we settling for anything less than 10? Well, the difference between 3 and 10 is process and consistency. That's it. It's that simple. Okay, there's no tool out there to include AI-based tools that's going to magically get you from 3 to 10% if you're not consistent with it, if you don't have a process with it. So machine-based AI, okay, is machine-based, which means it puts in a certain amount of programs, and that's what it is. The adaptive learning AI has to learn. It has to learn to understand acquisition. We're not talking about sales, guys. We'll get to that in just a second. We're talking about that acquisition model, consistency. So I talk to dealers all the time, and they're like, we want to buy a lot of cars. But are you prepared to buy a lot of cars? What's your retail strategy? Have you trained your people of what's going to happen when we buy a lot of cars? The in-store process, the office, the managers, the trade process, the service drive process. Or have we just said something because it sounds great and we have no idea how we're going to get there? Ask ourselves that question, right? Sit with that for a minute. I want to be a buying center. I want to buy cars. I want to grow my used car department. What are you doing to ensure that happens? It sounds great. Sounds like we're doing something really innovative, really creative. And that's all it is it's sound. It's noise. Okay. It's people bumping their gums. Actions is where it's at, and actions are in training. Let's train our people to go to war. Train our people to be ready for battle. Let's train our people for the big game, whatever analogy you need. And I've been waiting to use this analogy for a while. And I saw this, I was watching some kind of storm show. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh, I'm immediately using this because I thought it was really pertinent in business. And it's 2 animals. You guys may have heard me talk about the house cat and the alley cat. This one's even better. Okay. It's the cow and the buffalo. Okay. The difference in training and talking about it and just giving tools. So when a storm comes, a cow and a buffalo can both hear or understand and feel the storm. They can sense it. Now, what a cow does is they run away from the storm. They run as far and fast as they can to get away from the storm, although the buffalo runs to the storm. Now, why is this interesting when it comes to training? So they run away from the storm because they're like, oh, we'll just figure it out. We're going to run and we're going to go to safety or where we feel comfortable. And inevitably, what the cow ends up doing is because he's running away from the storm. Now, when the storm gets to him, it stays over him the whole time as he's trying to run away from it. So you actually leave yourself in the pit of misery and that pain point for longer The buffalo says, you know what? This is going to hurt. This isn't going to be great. They run towards the storm. So now as the storm comes to them, they're in it and it hurts and it's really bad right at the start of it. But then they actually run through it and they get through the fog or the storm faster because they embraced the challenge that's coming. They got through the storm. So ask yourself, are you guys done being cows and ready to be buffaloes? Or you guys just constantly want to be in that safe spot where you put yourself in the pit of misery and you don't address the biggest epidemic in the auto industry right now, which is a lack of training and development of our people? A second point that I thought would be really awesome is Tracy Trainer. Got to give him a shout out. He put a message on LinkedIn a couple days ago, and it talked about he was in a store or he was talking to a dealer, and they said like they don't like to give a number when it like they don't want to give a number because then it's too low and then it causes an issue or some sort. And so him talking about that using AccuTrade, which I prescribe to as well, is that it got massive amount of comments. I mean, 70 plus comments on this. Everyone has their own opinion and idea of this. But what I found interesting, and when I put my comment up there, is why are we surprised by this? Why are we surprised by the fact that dealers say they don't want to give a number because they don't want to get like they don't want to be too low and everything else? Why are you too low? Why are you fighting third-party validation? That is a lack of training. That's a lack of understanding. That's a lack of the just overall market strategies right now. If we don't train our people how to use market strategies, that's why they do this. This is the behavior that ends up happening because they're not comfortable having the conversation in a more effective way because we've never trained them to do it. That's what Street Smarts does. It changes the conversation. When I say changes, it makes it easier. It makes it to where we don't even have to have arguments. We can get to a place of conversation and engagement and agreement. If we can even imagine what that looks like, it happens every day in the stores that I work with. Now, when we think about that is, so we don't want to give numbers or we're afraid to give numbers, is third-party validation is a tool. It doesn't mean that you have to prescribe to it in every single thing you do, but why wouldn't you? If all these companies have professed to be like, hey, we give these fair, transparent values, whatever it may be, why wouldn't I want to engage and educate a customer so that they can make an educated decision? Well, it comes down to our business model. When I told you we'd come back to sales, here we are. We're full circle right into the sales model. Where people have trouble with acquisition and transparency of third-party validation is that lack of training. But the lack of training also comes into we've lost the lack of retail ability. Our salespeople just aren't as good as they used to be. Why is that? Because this is what we've always done. Is we don't train our people. It's baptism by fire. We just decide this is how we're going to do it. And you know what? To hell with anything else. We don't need to get better. Well, if we got better and we decided, you know what? Okay, we're going to make a change. We're going to make a transformation. We're going to adapt to what's happening in the market right now. And then we got better at retailing cars. You could buy anything you want. So we hear a lot of these arguments, are you the right end user? You're only the wrong end user because you don't know how to sell cars. You can be the right end user for every single vehicle if you have a great retail strategy. That's being proven actually in a store in Northern California right now. They can buy any car they want, and you can look at market day supply or days on market. It could say 120, 130, and guess what? They'll sell it under 30 because they have a great retail strategy. That is the key to acquisition. But to start there, right, to retail to buy, right, you buy them, you sell them, you buy them, you sell them. Well, just kind of a full circle thing is you have to train your people on, one, how to sell cars, and then you have to train your people on how to provide a consumer experience to buy cars. If there's all this noise out there, there's a study that just came out, or if it hasn't come out, it's coming, is the average consumer back when, let's call instant cash offer first started, had one value. One, maybe two. And then now we've got the ICOs, we've got the CarMaxes, the Carvanas, the Echo Parks, the Get Me My VIN, I mean, everything you could possibly imagine. And now you know how many offers the average consumer has before they walk in or they engage with you? 2 to 4, up to now 6 different valuations. So that dealer that Tracy, you were talking to, please tag this video, send it to him so that I'm saying it to him and you're not. Not only are you out of touch, okay, you are half-baked in idiocy by thinking by not giving an offer, you're growing your business. And like I put in the comment, I would talk to that owner and say, look, it's time to let these people go. How, as an owner, do you want people in your dealership not growing your business, but pushing business to another store? Now, all the owners around him, I'm sure they're celebrating this. They're like, please don't let this guy go. He's our best salesperson in another store, right? We either have to train our people and adapt to the market, and we need to get people to help us with that understand this and have been effective with it, or we have to then be okay with the fact that we're choosing to get left behind. So a quote that's been going around, and I hope it grabs as much steam as possible, it should be the theme of 2025, is if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. You've lost that ability to bitch, complain, and moan about something when you're choosing your behavior by not transforming, not adapting, and not changing. Now, the great news is we have control of this. We have very little control of a lot of things, but we have control. We can change whatever we want, okay? All we have to do is make the choice right now. We choose it, okay? We say, you know what? I'm going to make this change. I'm going to adapt. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to do something different. I want to get better, whatever it may be. And there's things out there now. So a lot of people said, well, there's nothing like, where do we start? How do we do it? And that's a great question. And so that's where I felt there was a void here of, we gatekeep all these things in acquisition. There's a lot of consultants. I've talked to a lot of them that have either built buying centers, helped people with buying centers. And there's one key fundamental with most of the consultants out there, and I challenge all of them to get better, is there's a lot of people that'll tell you what to do. There's a lot of them. This works. I've seen it work before. This is what you should do. Here you go. This is what other stores are doing. The difference between me and them, I get in the trenches with you. I do it. I show it. Okay. I live it. I'm not going to tell you how to do anything. I'm going to come in there and actually show you how to do it in your store when you read on SmartWolf. Street Smarts, here's the best part. I'm not going to tell you what to do. There's videos that actually are instructional videos on how to ever do everything. So I'm not telling you, I'm actually showing it to you in those as well, to include one of the best walkarounds ever constructed from a psychological standpoint. It's a walk around that you can't say no to, because it's an option-based walk around that gets interactive engagement from the customer and emotionally disconnects them from their vehicle. That's the key. Training to the human psyche, training to the human brain, and training to the process you put in so that you guarantee your results through consistency. You don't hope for results through inconsistency. That's the message for the day, guys, is like, listen, let's make a commitment to training. Let's get involved, okay? If you're looking to win, I'm ready to win with you. And Street Smarts Academy, the Genius Group, you want to come in, you want SmartWolf to come in and help you do it. Okay, let's build this together. Don't get left behind in 2025 and wonder why used cars didn't do what you wanted it to do next year. Let's make a change right now. Let's treat training just like we would treat sales. The most important thing in our store, and I promise you, okay, you're going to see a more dynamic response and better results if training is as important to you as selling vehicles, buying vehicles, or anything else. Because once we invest in our people and we make them better, okay, and they have that sense of pride that you're growing them, they're going to grow you more times than not. I hope everybody is having a fantastic Wednesday. It's December 10th. A shout out to my oldest son, Andrew, 26 years old today. So 26 years ago was one of the best days in my life. Having my very first son, okay, and getting to spend it with him today after work. I'm super excited. I hope all of you guys have a fantastic day. And guys, just remember, the truth hurts only when it should, okay? And then Street Smarts is the empowerment to getting to where you want to be when it comes to acquisition and retail strategy. Till next time, Daryl Steed here with Street Smarts and SmartWolf Consulting. And I hope you guys all have a great Wednesday.